Whew. Hello, everyone. Wow. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Untangled. We are on episode 134. So good to be here with you guys. Man, oh man, this is going to be a potentially a pretty heated conversation that I'm going to be having. First of all, if you've never listened to Untangled, this is a series that I do on YouTube. I talk about the evolution in human consciousness, and I talk about it from a very basic human, authentic, real, vulnerable place, which you have a hard time finding nowadays because of the massive amount of manipulation that is happening on the planet, the coercion and the way in which people are just falling into this pattern of dopamine hits and like the inauthentic, fake, artificial world that we are building and creating and thinking is okay to be in. I'm just feel like I have been holding back a lot. I feel like I've been trying to figure out how to step into this next level, this next phase of evolution that we're in, authentically, not being caught in the traps and in the bullshit and in the lies and in the inauthenticity and in the inorganicness. And last night I just hit a wall. The rage and anger inside of me. And it's probably because I haven't been showing up in full authenticity. I don't know how to do that any other way. Like, it's very difficult for me to teach and show up in any other way than full transparency and authenticity. And I think that the last 6, 7, 8 months, especially as I've been building a relationship with God and with Jesus in a really profound way, and I'm about to start a project with Jesus that's going to require so much from me. I've been trying to figure out how to be real and authentic and honest and vulnerable in a world that has and continues to condition us into being in certain ways in order to get likes and in order to get followers and subscribers and money, and watching everybody fall into this trap and my jaw just dropping. Like, I am trying to have compassion. I'm trying to have an open-heartedness. I'm trying to recognize that this is just part of the evolution. I'm trying to have compassion for myself. But I just can't. I don't know if you work online, but if you work online, it is really a fascinating place to work, because if you don't fall into the way in which the world wants you to be, I just, where do I even start? Okay, so thanks for being here with you guys. Something's about to shift for a lot of us. Something is about to break. I mean, we just can't keep doing what we're doing. We can't keep playing in these ridiculous games. It's absurd. It's so ridiculously fake out there. I don't even have words for it. I can't handle it. I just can't handle it. And I've been battling, like, okay, well, do I just go and hide out for the next 6 months and write and, get myself more prepared to be on this planet as it unravels and unfolds and collapses? We've got to be able to be in this. We've got to be able to go through this, and we've got to be able to do it where we are not getting caught in it. And I am watching so many millions of humans get caught in the traps. Um, and get caught in it. And I think I'm just figuring out how to navigate this without compromising my truth, compromising my integrity, compromising thank you, MJ, for that. Compromising truth. Compromising truth. There's something so thanks, Paula. That's so sweet. There's something so powerful about just raw authenticity in the midst of a world that is creating the opposite in most of what we watch and what we see and what we hear and what we listen to. What's been fascinating is that as I have been going straight to God more than anything else, a direct freeway straight to God, I've been noticing this more and more in the world. So my frustration and irritability is increasing as I am creating a straight, direct line to God. I'm noticing the inauthenticity more. I'm noticing the manipulation more. I'm noticing the tricks that are being done out there. I'm noticing how, you've got to have a shock and awe conversation in order to get people to pay attention to you. And I'm noticing how people are doing that. And I'm noticing how people are following these breadcrumbs that are not being placed by God. And it's concerning to me. And I guess the concerning part to me is how am I going to stand in this? This is a very personal rant that I'm giving, but how am I going to stand in all of this in pure, honest, clear integrity and authenticity in the midst of watching the opposite? How am I going to do that, God? Please help me do that. Please help me continue to see truth, clarity. Please, God, help me to continue to see the inauthenticity of the world, the way in which people are playing so deeply in these programs so that they can be seen, so that they can have money, so that they can have followers, so that they can have this, so they can have that. Let me continue to see all of that, God, and continue to stay committed to you and authentic and real and honest. Thank you, Lola, for that super chat. Let me be in a state of compassion. Allow me to be in a state of compassion for all of this. And I think, honestly, a part of my frustration and irritability is that I'm not speaking my truth 100%, that I am holding back. And I'm not good at that. It drives me nuts. And I've been doing that. Thank you, Rory, for that super chat. I've got my latte. I've been trying to figure out how I think, I don't think I know. This evolution in human consciousness that we're in right now, the shift that we're about to step into, it's not about how much information are you going to gain. How many rabbit holes are you going to go down? Um, how many, like, wow, holy cow, things that are going to happen on the planet. What's coming next? Did you hear about that? That is not what this next phase is about. This next phase is about facing yourself in the mirror and being authentic, aligned with God, truth, and in service. And what we're going to start seeing more and more is the complete opposite of that. I almost titled this The 7 Deadly Sins, because what I have been recognizing as I've been studying with Jesus more and more, and I am in a massive training with Jesus that I haven't talked about, a pretty intense training, which is also why I think I'm having a breakdown. But if you start paying attention to the 7 deadly sins right now, and you look out at the world, you're going to see that most behaviors are stemming from one of these behaviors, one of these consciousnesses. And if you want to know where the planet, you want to know what the evolution in human consciousness is going to look like for the next 10 to 15 years, it's not about raising your vibration. It's not about learning about all the different galactic thises and that's and all the portals opening up and all of the whatever's happening in that spiritual world, in the spiritual communities. It's about recognizing the behaviors that a human is choosing to be in. And if that behavior lines up with God, or if that behavior lines up with and can be traced back to one of the 7 deadly sins. It's not a coincidence that they call it deadly sins. It is literally what is at the core of this spiritual battle that humanity is going to open up and awaken to. This is not a battle against the Anunnaki or the reptilians or the this or the that. This is a battle between human mind, human behavior, and consciousnesses that create these behaviors and these thoughts that are so seductive, so seductive that we will all argue that we do not play in them. And I would argue that the entire planet is consumed by those 7 behaviors. And the more that I am peeling back and getting clear on really what's happening in this next phase of our evolution, I think it's overwhelming for me. I think it's a little bit overwhelming. Partly because it's going to require me to be so brutally honest. And I think we're used to people teaching being put together, and, if you look around and you go and listen to all the different people teaching you things, they're put together. They look put together, right? So you have this idea of, It's a program. We're not put together. We're messes. We're all messes. Everyone you see and listen to and talk to, everyone's a mess. It's part of the human experience. It's part of the human condition right now. We're all a mess. We're all doing our best to navigate this. We're all going to eventually wake up out of the inauthenticity, the inorganic way of being, the putting on a show, the pretending, the doing it because this is how I'm going to be able to be most successful or make the most money, or this is how I'll be seen, or this is how this, or this is how that. It's all fake. It's all fake. I'm sorry, it is. It's all inorganic. And the faster that we can look at the world right now from two simple lenses, it's very, very simple, this next phase of evolution. It's very, very simple. It is so freaking simple, it's going to blow our minds. The lens is either, is this godlike? Or can I follow this path, follow this back to one of the 7 deadly sins? It's that simple. It's that simple. Is this godlike? Or is this connected to one of the 7 deadly sins? Go read the 7 deadly sins, plaster it somewhere, and start to humble yourself to this. I've been on this spiritual path since I was 13. I have been aware of the ascension, the evolution in human consciousness. I was born into this awareness. And I have always had this belief somewhere in the back of my head that this was going to be all about these sort of like higher perspectives, galactic-y things, light beings, higher dimensional beings, the unseen worlds coming in and helping us, and um, you know, all of this like really sensationalized kind of things. And I think what's been so humbling for me and so difficult to begin to speak about is that it's actually the opposite. That's just all story. Because it's not fun to think about the fact that there truly is going to be 2 lenses to use as we move through this next very grounded, very dark, very human evolution. This next phase that we're going to be tested in is very human. It's messy, it's real, it's in front of our faces, and it's the greatest opportunity and gift that humanity is going to have, and it's going to be the most difficult test. It's going to be the most difficult test because of how seductive and how slow these 7 deadly sins enter into our lives, especially with all of our technology. And so the importance, the power, the impact going straight to God is going to have on humanity, a relationship with God, a relationship, not studying God, not reading about God, not the laws of God, whatever your God is, a relationship, an experience with God. Not an idea of God, not logical knowledge about God, not all these quantum concepts about this and that and energy and mechanics. A physical, tangible, palpable, real relationship with God. That is the evolution in human consciousness. That is where humanity is going to need to go. And everything else is a lot of extra toppings on a brownie sundae that's simply distracting humanity from the next steps and the next phase of this evolution. If we want to be in some Garden of Eden, New Age, heaven on earth, 5D place, and we're not building an intimate relationship with God, what in the freak are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're putting money in front. We're putting success in front. We're putting a relationship in front. We're putting pride in front. Who am I? Do people see me? Do people know me? Am I getting followers? Am I getting likes? Am I this? Am I that? We're putting how others see us, again, pride, in front of God. We're putting, healing and doing all of this, all the other things in front of God. Instead of saying the most important thing that humanity needs to do right now is build a freaking relationship with God. And then we can get into all the arguments that people want to have around that concept. Well, it's actually universe. It's actually source. It's actually within me. It's like, who cares? Do you have a relationship? Do you talk to this every day? Do you ask this aspect first before anything else? Do you follow it before you follow your own desires? Like, where are we? Let's get real. Let's get honest. Let's get brutally honest about what's actually happening here. We can all pretend that we're like living in these great states and we're super positive and super high vibe. And yet we're being pulled into these 7 deadly sins. We're being pulled into manipulations. We're being pulled into these seductive behaviors. And so it's an illusion that we are evolving into some like beautiful place. Your whole world, the entire planet's whole entire life, humanity's lives will change as they begin to build a relationship with God. And here's the problem with that right now on this planet. We have been so programmed for dopamine hits. We need entertainment. We need something to grab us. We need something to fix us right away. We need something to give us that instant gratification. We have been programmed, especially the last 5 years. We have been so deeply programmed. And if you're not aware of it, start becoming aware of this. We need to feel entertained in some capacity. We need an excitement. We need a hit. And so this is a big, massive problem because the next phase is about a connection and a relationship with God, which is not about dopamine hits. It's not about these like sensationalized, you know, stories of whatever's going to catch your attention. It's just not going to be like that. And so it's going to require humanity to either be pummeled to their knees or they get curious. They get curious. I'll just speak for myself because that's all I can do. I came here onto this planet, and you did as well, to move through this evolution, to go through this evolutionary shift. You came here on this planet, I came here on this planet to play a role of some sort. And it is extremely important to keep our eyes so clearly opened to what we are in. to what's actually happening. And to allow ourselves to have the frustration, the irritability, the anger, to have the battles within ourselves of how to navigate keeping our eyes wide open, so pristinely clear, and having the emotional responses to it as well. Because we are human. We are not these elevated, Om Shanti Shanti Om humans. Get the freak out of here. It's just not who we are, right? We are in a tumultuous, chaotic shaking around of a collective consciousness so that we can realign with the clarity and embodiment of God, not because you're doing it, but because you're not doing it. You're not doing this. You are not in charge. We are not in charge. We have to hand this over. That's another problem that we're going to be confronted with. You got to hand this over to God. Figure out what that is to you. We are about to step into an era on this planet that we have not been in before. We are about to step into new ways of being that we have not been in before. I don't exactly know what it's going to look like, but I know that it's not going to be like what we've been doing. You know how challenging, you do know, but I'll just state this, how difficult and challenging it is to do it very differently than how the rest of the world is doing things. And I'm not talking about being awake in the world and fighting against the government and the Illuminati and all of that. That's easy. And at this point on the planet, that's easy. 20 years ago, ask David Icke, that wasn't very easy, Why? Because the majority of the planet wasn't seeing it in the same way. So 20, 25, 30 years ago, if we had the consciousness that we have now around it all, it would be very difficult, or it'd be very easy, right? It's very easy now to fight against these systems because so many of humanity's awarenesses are now on that. But when you start to step out into new territory that the larger collective, human collective, is not open to yet, it's a whole different ballgame. But that's what the evolution is. Someone asked me the other day, well, how do you know there's an evolution in human consciousness? And it's like, well, it doesn't require much to kind of start looking at and paying attention to it. I mean, you look back at where our consciousness was, where our level of consciousness was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25, 30, what we were capable of being aware of in our psyche, what we saw as truth, how we lived our lives, and then where we are now as a human collective, right? Just in those 30 years, there's been a massive shift. And then you look back 30 years from there, so 60 years ago, there's a massive shift in the way that we are seeing the world and the way that we're being in the world. And so 10 years from now and 15 years from now and 20 years from now, there's going to be an even bigger shift in our consciousness and our awareness and in how we are being on this planet. And it will not be the way it is right now. So all of the ways in which we're seeing things and we're following all the ways that everybody else is doing things, and we're learning about this and that because everybody else is learning about this and that, there is something even newer that is going to be shown. New thought, new ways of being, new understandings. And it is going to be outside of what the majority, no matter what system you play in, no matter whether you're in the, spiritual community, whether in your self-help community, whether you're in a religious community, whether you're in an agnostic community, it doesn't matter what community you're in, how you live your life. 10, 15, 20 years from now, there will be new ways of seeing all of this that the majority of humanity is not in right now. And so what I am stepping out into, what I am about to explore, what I'm about to speak about, what I'm about to teach, what I'm about to write about is what the majority of humanity will not necessarily agree with or partake in or think is a great idea or, it's just not, it's not going to be, whatever. But I got to do it anyway. I feel like I'm having like I'm telling you guys, I haven't actually shared this. I'm being careful with what I'm sharing and what's going on with me, but those phrases, I had a coming to Jesus. So, I 2 years ago, I sat down and I was in my bathtub and I told Jesus I wanted to really train under him. I said, I don't want to leave this planet without learning as much as I possibly could from you. I want to live as close to how you lived on this planet as possible, not knowing at all what that would entail or what I didn't understand what the heck I was asking for. And 2 years later, I am now literally in a training with him. Like a real one, like this is what you're doing now, this is what you're doing now, this is what you're doing now. And it started to get pretty clear and serious about what's about to unravel about a week ago on the 5th. It was late at night and I was sitting in my bed and I just heard Jesus so loud come in. He was standing next to me in my bedroom. And he said, "It's time." And I started to write what he was saying to me. And he was telling me how we had this contract, we had this assignment that I've been, preparing myself for this without realizing it. I've sort of let a lot of things go in my life that would have pulled me from this. And it feels like one of the biggest things that I've ever done, whatever this is that's going to unravel, whatever this is that's going to happen. And every single day, I feel like, and this has only been what, 5, 6, 7 days, every single 7 days, I feel like I have been getting myself ready for something. And he's also been telling me to be really careful about sharing it. So I'm trying to be careful about sharing it, but I'm not good at not being honest. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to not just show up and Bruce, but he's been telling me, please be careful what you share, be careful what you are giving out. And he's been working with me on pride and obedience. So listening to him, doing what he's asking of me, and pride. Pride being, am I doing this for me or am I doing this for the higher good? Am I doing this because I want to, or am I doing this because of the higher service, right? And just getting really clear on pride. And I think that's a real powerful thing for all of us to get a description of pride. It's running the majority of people's lives right now. And anyway, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep this quiet, but I do know that I'm going to have to balance a lot of it. Because I want to share whatever it is that's coming through with all of you. I've never felt such a powerful shift about to happen on the planet. A shift that is going to pull us in a direction that I don't think the majority of us understood we would be called to. I really don't. And for me, it's about finding, it's about letting go of expectation or attachment. It's about being very, very, very authentic and vulnerable. Kind of like naked, that feeling of being naked. You're just like, oh my gosh, just completely naked here. Yeah. Lots of stuff happening for all of us, you guys. Yeah, there is something big happening. Man, last night, you guys, I had so much rage and anger in my body. I was exhausted. It was midnight. I was exhausted. And I was like, I can't wait to just close my eyes and fall asleep. And the amount of anger and rage that I had in my body, I couldn't go to bed. And I just was talking to Jesus, and he's in my room and he's telling me all these things. And I'm just wanting to scream, like scream, because I think the core of that anger, the core of it was, well, it has started with the anger that I'm seeing around people showing up on the planet, like the anger of like the rage, and just how people are how they're so easily pulled into these ways. And then I went deeper, and I was like, I'm angry because I'm not just showing up brutally, honestly, vulnerably raw. You know how good it feels to just be you? It feels so good when you're just you. And it's extremely difficult. Most people that you see that show up online, whether it's YouTube or wherever, there is some sort of lens they put on, right? There has to be, because it would be a real mess if they showed up completely authentic, So there has to be a framework of how people show up. I mean, You will find people that are pretty authentic and you can feel it and you love it, right? But for the majority of people, they have to have a framework, a lens, you know, they have to be, uh, they have to play in the systems. And I think what's happening for me is that it's becoming more and more clear that that I won't be able to do that. I'm going to have to just be brutally honest. I'm not going to lie, it's a little nauseating. Partly because what I'm going to be starting to share about could potentially be some of the most triggering conversations a human could have. What's more triggering than Jesus? What's more triggering than God? What's more triggering than, um, especially in a world where there is genocide and war and horrific things happening, and we've got to introduce different ways of seeing where we're going as a human collective. It's almost like, as I'm sharing this with you guys, it's getting clearer and clearer too. It's like, it's almost like thank you so much, Rion, for that super chat, where we thought we were going or the path that humanity was on and the things that we were taught and the things that I was teaching and the pictures that we were presenting on screen for everyone that we're all walking down this path and this is what we're stepping into and this is where we're going and you just got to do this and then this is happening and this is happening and you're preparing your body for this and all these things that we were walking into, the whole pretty picture that had been painted for us it's as if the whole thing has it's like it's completely gone away and it's like the whole human collective has the potential and is going to shift into a completely different path, like a different road. And so it's like, wait, that's not how we do things. Wait, that's not how it goes. Like, wait, you want me to now look at this? You want me to pay attention to this? You want me to see it through this lens? Like, wait, how that doesn't, we've been doing it like this whole time. Everybody's waking up to this. Isn't it all about this? And it's like, no, it's actually all about this, right? And this is the recognition of the lens of just a, a a relationship, right, with God and really understanding what that means or beginning to understand what that means. Um, and the underbelly of these underbelly energies that are controlling humanity, which could be moved into the 7 deadly sins. And so it becomes very, very human, very grounded in the human experience. And the majority of us that have been going on this path and like walking down this road and like excited about these things that are coming and like, oh my God, and we're gonna all these great things. Humanity's it's gonna shift. And we're gonna realize it's quite simple actually. It's God or everything else. Because how else do we become godlike in human form, which is the evolution, if we aren't actually building an intimate, physical, tangible, real relationship with God? And if you start getting clear and listening to what you're listening to, pay attention to how often is the conversation about simply building a foundational, real, physical, tangible relationship with God? Or is it about all these other things? Because what we're going to find out, I believe, is that all these other things that we've been doing and getting distracted by, and all the different stories, and this is happening, it's all just going to keep looping us in the idea and notion that we're in the evolution, that we're ascending. But it's this false illusionary trap because we're still playing in these, hate to say it, but we're still playing in those 7 behaviors. And so when we can begin to sort of pop our heads out, or when we get pummeled, or when we get curious, and where will the pummeling happen or the curiosity happen? When we start to really pay attention to all this stuff over here that we're in right now that really has created a lot of frustration for me, that isn't actually working anymore. It's not working. You're just continuing to seek. You're continuing to grab, to get, to feel. It's like it's like somebody putting a carrot in front of you. You're just continuing to grab for it. But nothing is actually really changing. But when we get pivoted over to this path that is going to open for humanity, which is not about religion, and it's not about it's stripped of all story. It's stripped of all story. It's so simple that when humanity starts to do it, it's going to blow our minds, because we're going to realize, first of all, how simple it was, how easy it was. And we're going to realize what we have been in for so long, and the way in which it kept us searching, craving, desiring, focusing on the future, when, as we turn to this new path, it's all going to open up. But it's a very different way. It's you've got to get out of the way. You've got to let go. You've got to let God. You've got to get clear on handing your life over to God. You've got to get clear on, I mean, there's a shift in the human collective's psyche that's going to be required in this next phase. And, it's a big break in the collective's forward movement, in my opinion. But it's also going to be very freeing for people, I think, when they start to recognize it. It's going to be very freeing, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I am so tired of the way the world has been. I'm tired of the way the world is right now. And I've never been in more peace. I've never been more clear. I've never been in more of a pure, aligned state than I have right now, walking simply with God. And building this relationship with God. What starts to happen is everything over here in this other timeline, it doesn't matter. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And it's the same old. It's the preparation for, it's the, this is coming, it's the do this and you'll elevate, it's the shift your body into this. It's all extra. It's loud. It's really loud. It's all background noise. There's nothing to do. That's what's gonna be so crazy, you guys, is once we really start to feel the power of God in our lives, the real power of God in our lives, we're all gonna realize, oh my God, everything else was just it'll just become like a choice of whether you want to listen, and it's gonna be so loud and obnoxious, you're just gonna turn it all off because you are completely plugged into the source. So when you're plugged into the source, what does it matter? Like, it's so freeing. It's so freeing when you plug straight into the source because literally nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what people are like. It does like it, none of it matters. And then you start really recognizing these behaviors. And I think that is why authenticity is going to be pulled out of you and it's going to be challenging. And you may already be feeling this authenticity, right? Where it's like almost impossible to not be you. And it's a fight, it's a struggle, at least for me, of like, man, I can't not just be like it's like if I am not just brutally honest, I literally feel like I'm lying to God. I feel like I'm lying. And e- so the more that you connect straight to God and build this relationship, you can't do these behaviors anymore. So authenticity is the only answer. Everything else is a lie, right? So then you're like, "Holy cow, I'm lying right now. I'm in a lie. I'm not." It's not like you're trying to lie. I get it, okay? But if I it is still a lie. It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. So all of these ways that we know humanity will be stepping into will be literally pummeled into your lap when you go straight to God and build that relationship, whatever that is to you. You'll be pummeled into authenticity. You'll be pummeled into truth. You'll be pummeled into um, clarity. You'll be pummeled into softness. You'll be pummeled into letting go, flow. You'll be pummeled into the way in which the world works isn't going to make sense to you. It's not going to make sense that, oh my God, I better make more money. I better go and make more money. I better go and do this. I better go and do that. I better get like, it's not, like this stuff isn't going to, you're going to be like, oh my God, wait, how do I do this? All of the things that you've been trying to heal and fix within yourself, that's not going to make sense anymore. It's wild. I am as much as I had a breakdown earlier, I truly am so super, super, super excited about what's about to come for humanity, this new doorway, this new walk. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to rattle. There's going to be a lot of I think it's hard for people to change. It's very, very difficult. And this is a big, for me, I believe this is a big shift for humanity. I believe it's going to be a big, um, we're going to have to let go we're addicted. We're addicted to this. We're addicted to it. Um, we're highly, highly addicted to this stuff over here. And so we will argue for this stuff. We will fight for it. Um, and so that's why, sometimes it will require like something massive happening where you're like, okay, enough is enough. I'm done. God help me type of thing. And then God says, okay, come over here to this path. Just you and I. Let's go. Um, and then you realize, that's why a lot of people will say like, oh, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was this car accident, or the greatest thing that ever happened to me was I lost all my job, all my money, or the greatest thing that ever happened to me was dot, 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 because they were pulled out of this, and they never would have moved out of that. It's a complete deprogrammation. Yeah. It's a complete, but it's not here's what's so interesting about this is that, um, it's not actually a deprogramming that you're doing. So right now, all of us over here, we're doing it all. We're reprogramming, we're deprogramming, we're waking up, we're becoming conscious. We are doing it all. And so that's still part of this kind of old, but beautiful, but path that is only going to be in a circle. Recycling. This path that we're about to walk into, where it's just you having this aligned connection straight to source, that is where you're not in control. You're actually not the one deprogramming yourself. You're not the one doing it. This connection that you have to source, to God, is what's doing it. And so then it becomes even more exhilarating because you realize, holy cow, oh my God, like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And you're realizing that this is what you've been looking for over here for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, following all these people's stories and all these things and all this and do that and then this and then here's that. And it's like, it's so loud. And then you find the source. You're like, the living waters that rush through your body. And that's the gold. Then everything changes. Everything changes. But it's getting humanity out of this, which is really difficult, especially when it's seductive. It's very, what we're in right now is, the reality of it is pretty intense. Um, you can't deny how you've lived. It's just opening to a completely different reality. I think that's what it is. You know, yeah, it's opening to I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know a real big shift is about to come. All right, you guys, thank you for letting me just pour it all out today. I have it's just been building up, man. And I just pray that we all find more ease and grace in this, and that I pray that we have more compassion for ourselves and for others as we navigate this. I pray that we have the courage to show up authentically no matter what people think or feel. I pray that we continue to have clarity, that we begin to see through the lens of God more and more and more. And I just pray for clarity for all of us. Um, Good things are on the rise. Good things are on the rise. Good things are on the rise. Humanity is about to they're about to be surprised, I think. Really surprised by the path that's going to be opening for us. That's how I see it. A big surprise. If we can open to a different way of seeing things, a different way of being, a different way. We've got to be able to be different. We've got to be able to open up to difference. We've got to be able to allow for a completely different way. If not, we will be stuck in that same patterning. So we've got to really be able to get curious around a very different way. A very different way of being in this that's not part of our conditioned training or programming or knowledge. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just showing up, and your support means the world. I will see you next Tuesday. And yeah. Here's to more authenticity. Lots of love. Bye, you guys.